Right, so we're back for episode 4 from Scheme to Boss. This episode's going to be a wee bit different, but it's going to be the same, so I'll pass you out to James.
So today we're joined with Fraser Penman. Fraser, as Alex says, the podcast is called From Scheme to Boss. Where you fae and what'd you do?
Afternoon, pleasure to be here, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Cheers for coming,
my name is Fraser Penman, better known as the world's most unique hypnotist and mentalist. I'm from just outside Glasgow, and I don't know, I suppose my job, you could say, is a real life wizard. And to sum it up, no, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, mentalist and stage hypnotist, I suppose would be my title.
Well, that's good. How did you get into it?
How did I get into it? So I've always grew up fascinated by Derren Brown and some other magicians and hypnotists going by, and Paul McKenna is another one actually that you people might know. I'm a wee bit young for him, but Paul McKenna.
Why are you assuming I'm older than you?
or family. And I always thought it was actors and stooges when we were growing up watching it and stuff like that, and I never thought it was real, and I always wondered how it was done. How could people just click their fingers and make people go to sleep? It's impossible.
I think everybody thinks about that, but I think about that as well. You think, even is it true? Do you believe it?
I'm not going to lie to you, mate. I'm sceptical, man, whether it can actually be done, because I've seen hypnotists on holiday and stuff like that, and because I've never had it done to me, you're sitting going, well, how real actually is it? Know what I mean? Like,
well, just before we started filming, we'd done a wee visualisation exercise where we were picturing ice creams, right? And the first thing I said to you was, how many fingers did I hold up in front of you? And you said, I don't have
I didn't even see you do
that. Because I was too busy visualising that ice cream. It's called a negative hallucination, and when you're on stage, you see me taking away the ability for people to be able to look at their shoes. I can take a shoe off and wave it in front of their face and they don't see it. But yet, how often are you looking for your car keys, holding your car keys? How often
all the time. I've done that the other day.
Wearing your glasses. It's called a negative hallucination, and we do all these things in our day-to-day life. So you're right, on stage it can look very extreme, but we actually all go in and out of trance and hypnosis 7 to 10 times a day. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll give you a practical example of this. Do both of you drive?
Aye.
Yes.
Cool. Have you ever got in your car or your van or whatever you drive, Rolls Royce, and done the same journey at the same time to go to the same destination, a normal work routine journey? And you arrive at your destination and you get there and you don't even remember driving there. Somehow you've just arrived.
All the time.
What happens is your conscious mind goes for a wee wander and your subconscious just takes over for autopilot. It's the same. What about driving down the motorway? Have you ever missed your exit?
Aye, all the time, man.
How can you miss your exit? It's a 15-foot sign. What happens?
Your mind's somewhere else.
Your mind's somewhere else, that's it. Oh, there, I've kicked that over already.
That's right.
It's called highway hypnosis, and that is literally, as you say, people describe it as autopilot mode. But hypnosis, to sum it up briefly, is just focus and concentration, right? So if you see any successful businessman, they'll always say, oh, my house is exactly how I've pictured it, or my car is exactly what I visualised when I was younger, or I stuck a picture of my favourite car on my fridge and I thought one day I'm going to achieve that, right? So people say they're setting goals or SMART goals, which is obtainable goals, realistic, all that good stuff, right? But in my mind, I believe that they're hypnotising themselves, because they're not going to the pub with their pals, they're saving up their money, they're not going and blowing all their savings, they're investing their money back into their business, which, if you turn it and flip it a little bit, is just eliminating distractions and focusing on one thing.
Right.
Now, whether that is you doing that to build a business, or whether that's the volunteers on stage listening to the sound of my voice, it's the same process.
I love how you're steering it down the business point of view. You've seen the podcast about, you're like, right, I'll steer it down. Because a lot of people, because one of the things is, a lot of people will probably be watching this and they're going, this isn't what the podcast is about. But see, for me, I think there is a place in business for this kind of stuff. So, for instance, you, like, negotiating with people, you must have an upper hand when it comes to negotiating pricing and stuff.
You're wanting tips, aren't you?
So basically, next time, 10 grand.
Next time I go to buy a van, I'm taking you with me, you know what I mean? Because I've been seeing hook, line and sinker with the price of the van that I just bought.
Well, it was interesting, actually. We went and bought a new car not that long ago, and we were, you can trade your car in and stuff, and our car had negative equity onto it and whatnot, and a good bit of negative equity, kind of negative equity that can't just go under the tyre, negative equity, and we walked out that showroom with that squashed, free mats and a free dash cam on your car. So I was like, well, that went well.
Because obviously when you go into serious salespeople, there's obviously, everybody knows their price and how much they're willing to go. So are you able to find that price out before them even knowing they've told yet? Or would you do that?
Let me answer this in two parts. Let me answer the business part and then the sales part. So the sales part is very easy. So a lot of sales people do a thing called NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And it's very similar to kind of hypnotic language patterns, and it's about how you speak to people and how you approach people. And I always do a lot of corporate work, and I don't know if you've ever worked in sales, but the first thing your boss will say is, get in the mind of the customer.
Think like speaking about that today, you've got to get in their mind.
Got to get in the mindset of the customer. So this is, hypnosis is absolutely everywhere. Could I necessarily change what they're going to give you? No, I'm not as much as people might think, I'm not a con artist. I'm definitely not a magician. People always think a lot of the mentalist stuff and stuff you do is magic. I can't even shuffle a deck of cards. Useless.
Darren Brown, is he a bit of a magician?
Well, this is the issue. A lot of magicians come into hypnosis after a background of magicians. I've done it the opposite way. I've went into hypnosis and then went into the kind of people profiling, psychological illusion, but I've never done magic. I can't do magic. I've never wanted to be a magician. That's never fascinated. But what did fascinate me was being able to program and plug a message into people's minds, not with hypnosis, this is with mentalism, by the way, just for the people that's getting hypnotised in the next coming days. I spend my life saying it's not mind control, and here I've just said on there, plugging messages into people's minds. I always found it fascinating how you can influence people to think a certain way, but not so much for negativity, but for positivity and whatnot.
Well, that's the side that I love. I love the idea that you can get the upper hand, get into basically negotiations, or if you've got a boss who's maybe been leading you down the garden path saying, I'm going to give you a wage rise, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you would know, like, you could pick up on stuff to go, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah, definitely. There's a thing called 30 seconds first impressions. Now this works whether you're going into a room or a person. So for example, you turn up and see a room and you might see there's a spotlight out in the back, or there's a bit of carpet tuffed up to the corner. Now you're looking around that room and automatically, subconsciously, your mind's went, I've lowered the rate of my expectations for this. If you come in and you see somebody and it's the same when people inquire from me. So I'm very much planned and organised and structured in my life, and when somebody comes back and they have notes to say, look, this is going to be the topic of conversation, this is where we're thinking of going for it, here's the venue, here's the date, blah blah blah, and again, get you from all platforms. That to me is impressive. That to me is somebody who's got their shit together, knows what they're doing, knows the direction of where they're going. And then you can get other people that come in and say, we'll do this, or we're not too sure a date, we might be able to do this, but we'll need to come back to you on that. And of course I get planning and calendar and stuff like that, but you know which one knows where they're going, and then the other one who's just woke up at 9 a.m. at night, 9 a.m. in the morning, and thought, this will be a good idea, let's try and fling this together, you know.
I'm a bit of both of them.
Well, I am as well, actually controversial. I am as well, but I'm getting sidetracked. But let me go back to the hypnosis and how I got into that. There's kind of two aspects from it, and the one aspect I've not actually ever spoke about was I used to work as a personal trainer. So my brother runs a martial arts company, and I've been doing martial arts since I was a little boy, and I used to teach martial arts, but martial arts didn't pay the bills, so I got qualified to be a personal trainer.
Was that your goal? Sorry to bar, was that your goal, like, through school and stuff like that? Was it to be a personal trainer?
No, my goal was to be a pilot, and then I found out I was blind, so I was like, that's not happening. I'm visually impaired. Yeah, to be a pilot you have perfect vision. Right. I did not have perfect vision.
So that was your goal, but growing up you always wanted to be a pilot?
I always wanted to be a pilot.
And hypnosis came a bit later?
The hypnosis did come a bit later. The hypnosis actually didn't come until I was 23.
And you're 28 now?
And I'm 28 now. So for the past 5 years now, I've always kind of been dabbling and interested with it from about the age of 21, 20. I've been watching it since I've been the high.
It's a short time to learn something like that.
It is a very short time.
Considering what you're doing now, we'll touch on it later, how well you're doing. But
yeah, so let me go into how I first came about it and stuff. So I was always watching Darren Brown on the telly, was always fascinated about it. And then I was working as a personal trainer. And what fascinated me was, as a personal trainer, I wasn't going in and doing the exercises for the clients. I wasn't writing anything down on paper during their session, but somehow people need a personal trainer to be able to lose weight, and all you're doing is speaking to them. You're literally just influencing a person. And I thought, you're not giving them any medication, you're not giving them any special tools or anything like that. You're literally telling them to get up and move more, eat less, but just by having your presence, you can influence that person to turn up at 9 a.m. every day for the workout, or to stay structured just from your advice. And I suppose it goes back to being a kid and a school teacher. You're looking up, if somebody tells you to do something, you do it, you know, for that higher authority. And I thought, this is incredible how cool people are being influenced without you actually doing anything, just speaking to them. And then when I came across Derren Brown and a psychologist called Anthony Gailey, I thought, and I seen this hypnosis and people were just dropping like flies, and I thought, oh, that must be paid actors. And then when I seen Peter Powers many years ago, I thought, there must be something more to this. There must be something more. How do people just drop? And it wasn't until I actually went and became a certified clinical hypnotherapist and studied for 2 years and got a diploma, learning all about neuro-linguistic programming, cognitive behavioural therapy, and all the different things that comes with the diploma for you to get certified, that I was like, oh my goodness, I'm such a geek for neuroscience and the brainwave patterns and how everything works. And when you break it all down, it makes sense. Now, it doesn't make sense to the general public because nobody's got a diploma in clinical hypnotherapy. Yeah, people just think you've got superpowers, but what actually happens is, in life, we have 5 different brainwave patterns. To go through them very quickly, your top one is if your fight or flight system. Your second one is what we're in just now, that kind of everyday floating through life. Your next one, and you'll relate to this and you'll be like, oh crap, I do this all the time. Your next one is, have you ever been watching a movie, you know it's fake, but you feel the emotion from the movie. It's totally made up. Totally made up. Or what about if you have been sitting on your phone and your partner or your friend's been sitting right beside you, shouting at you for the past 5 minutes your name, and you've just not heard them.
I just agree with her.
Until the shoe comes off and hits you in the head, and you're like, what's going on? And they're like, I've been shouting for you for the past 5 minutes, and your response is simply, have you?
Yeah, because your mind's somewhere else.
Your mind's somewhere else.
I
your
just
mind
assumed she's talking to somebody, talking to the Wayne or something.
How can your mind...
Shouting Alex.
Aye.
I was like, I've heard you, but I didn't hear what you were saying. Like, I've assumed
that might be worse, I would say that.
Like, you're having a conversation with Wayne, so I've just tuned out and just kept doing my own thing.
Because you're focused on something else.
But think about it, how intelligent must your brain be to... Simply, if you guys were sitting where you are now, how intelligent must your brain be to just block somebody physically shouting at you in your ear because you're so focused? So that's stage 3. Stage 4 is literally hypnosis. That's just the same state but with your eyes closed. And then after that, can you guess what the last one is?
No.
Sleep.
Sleep.
Completely sleep.
I love the last one. I think I go for number 2 to that, 2 to 5 all day every day, man.
Love it. But no, I've totally forgot what we're talking about then. Go again.
So talk about obviously how you get into hypnosis and all that.
Aye, so how we got into it. So I was fascinated about what Derren Brown and stuff done. However, when obviously having the albinism and whatnot, I got quite a bad time at school and whatnot, and my self-confidence was very low. So I didn't always kick about or laugh looking like this. Sorry, you can laugh, we're not sensitive. For about 10 years, I spent dyeing my hair, wearing fake tan, wearing makeup because...
Is this your school years?
Yeah, going into the school years. Stuff? And you'll say, what's this got to do with hypnosis? We will get there, I promise.
No, I wanted to ask you about your journey when you were younger anyway. How was life like when you were younger?
Because one of the things we always talk about is schools. Yeah. And how you'll get teachers who will either encourage you, or more often not, you'll get that one teacher who just totally tries to demotivate you and crush your dreams.
Yep.
And we're finding a lot of people are getting the teacher who was basically said, you're no there. So if you went into school and said, I'm going to put on shows, I'm going to hypnotise people, that's not a thing.
Absolutely. It's sad for me when I think back to school. School's some of the worst memories I ever had, and not for the reason of teachers or anything else, but simply bullying. And it's worse. I'd hate to be 10-year-olds now in this generation, because
it's now social media now
things went from in person to media. But school for me was horrible in the fact that my first early memory was probably about primary 4, round about age 8. I remember getting rocks. I was walking home myself from school because that's what you did at that age, and you were trusted to the childminders. And I remember 2 boys following me, throwing rocks, and they were just throwing rocks just to try and hit me. And I remember turning around and chasing to get one, and then a neighbour came out from the house and says, "Let that boy go or I'm phoning the police." And I remember thinking, I can't react badly to this because I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Yeah, you can't win if you're getting bullied and then you're reacting.
Win. And then from about age 9, probably going in about primary 6, primary 5, primary 6, that's when telephones were just starting to come about for me. Hate mail on the telephone. People, I remember sitting eating lunch myself on the bench and people would come around. And it's funny now that you're older, but when people are singing "You're a Jolly Good Wanker," when there's 10, 12 people round while you're sitting eating your sandwiches yourself, it's sad. And I remember thinking back to that little wee boy thinking how
you feel sad thinking about yourself back in that day, that time.
I feel sorry for that wee boy because I had so much built up anger and frustration, and it was drummed into me that you do well at school, you try your best at school, you do what the teacher tells you at
That's
school.
That's what we're taught, that's what everybody's taught, but that's not the case at all.
So I used to keep in all my anger and come home and take it out on my mum and my dad and just be so frustrated from about age 8 going up. Now, I remember kind of fast forwarding into high school and stuff a little bit. I remember seeing some psychologists, and bless them, the psychologist was lovely that I had, but when you're 13 and 14 and there's somebody sitting across from you from the table who's in their 60s that's never been bullied a day in their life, you find it so hard to relate. So I remember,
give you advice.
They give you advice, or they give you, I think I got a colouring sheet, and it was to count down.
Do you think the 10. Advice then was not the correct advice that you needed at the time?
I found it wasn't relatable. I found it, I couldn't believe what they were saying. I couldn't believe in the techniques they were saying because I didn't believe in them.
So you didn't do what they were telling you?
I did, but it didn't work for me.
Right.
I still felt angry and frustrated. And as I've grown up, especially now being a therapist myself, people buy people. I am my own brand, and a lot of people come to me now because they can relate. And I remember leaving school, and my message was, because I wanted to originally become a primary school teacher. And the reason I wanted to become a primary school teacher was I guess I was always searching for that hole that was in my life that I didn't enjoy, and wanted to go back and enjoy those times and help other kids be the best version of themselves. And I remember being really passionate about, I just want to change one person's life, no matter what it is I do. So I found myself studying into that kind of route. But when I was at university, I was doing a working degree. I was working 4 days a week, I think it was, as a nursery teacher in the education, and studying 1 day a week, so eventually I could then have my degree to go into primary school teaching. And it was that same week that, sorry, to put things into perspective, this is when I now have black hair and dyed my hair and all the rest of it. I'd done that from about the age of 13. And the reason I'd done it from age 13 was that's when you just started to get that social freedom, if you like, and
be yourself.
Yeah, people coming into themselves, and I was trying to be everything but myself, if that makes sense.
Try to fit in.
Yeah, and you wouldn't believe, I know I'm going off topic here, so I apologise. Hopefully you're really good at editing.
That's good. We just put it out raw anyway. It's better just speaking how it is.
Absolutely. So from when I was about 13, 14, I remember wanting to go Friday night skating. That was the thing. Everyone's going Friday night skating.
I used to do that.
You wouldn't believe adults, older people, anything. If I was travelling on the bus, some people, they don't even know me from Adam and come up and say, "You look like a vampire." I remember being at a concert, I think it was when I was 16, maybe it was Clubland or something. Somebody threw a pint of alcohol over my face and says, "We thought you had talcum powder on your face, you're that fucking pale." And I just thought, you don't even know me. So from about the age of then, I wanted to start fitting in, because I was just like, I don't want to go out in public, I want to blend in.
That must have took your confidence to an extreme low.
It did, and this is where we're going. So when I was at university, I'd been dyeing my hair and wearing makeup and fake tan, and I identify as a heterosexual male, as a straight male, and it was tough in my family as well. They're thinking, well, it's not really common
People
back
just
then
assuming
to be wearing,
that you're not.
people wearing makeup and all that. There's those questions to be asked on the home life as well. So I was at university and I was studying, and we had to do a presentation to say what education meant to us. That was the presentation. And at the time, I just went through some hardship in my personal life within the family, and I'd been diagnosed with dyslexia in that week at the age of 23. All that time, struggled through school, never been diagnosed. So in that same week, and I just had this massive mental breakdown that I've been living a lie for the past 14 years. Like, I'm so unhappy. I didn't enjoy being in the nursery because I didn't feel like I fitted in, because it's very much a female dominated environment. Yep. So I always felt, although everybody's polite to you, you're like there but not there, if that makes sense.
You feel like people are like, they're judging you. Like,
but not judging you, right? How do we explain that?
Like they're not saying it, but I know they're saying it.
And I know now, doing what I do, that communication is so important, because it's not so much the stories that we tell each other, but the stories you tell yourself. And this is what comes from a lot of mental health, and we'll touch on that later on. But yeah, so I just felt like I just didn't belong anywhere. So I just had this massive mental breakdown, signed myself off work, and started watching videos of suicide on YouTube. And
at the age of 23?
23. I had my first suicidal thought when I was probably about 12.
So that was only 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
That's a dark place to be in, I mean.
Very dark place.
I think it's mad that there's videos on YouTube but you can actually watch it at.
Oh, aye. It was really strange, because going back to, I think my very first time was, we'll break into two formats. So at primary school, I was very, very unhappy. And I remember trying to jump out my bedroom window when I was 12, and my mum stopped me. And then you kind of plod through life, and the bullying was still there, and as you do, you grow up. And then I started dyeing my hair and fake tan, and then as you do, you go and get a job and go to university, but the baggage is always still there. So then it was the summer holidays. So I was term time in the nursery, it was summer holidays, and I had just moved out into my first flat, and I had nothing but time. Couldn't go out because I was skint, because I just got my first flat. So it ended up that the days just started blending in together, and the blinds then didn't go up, and then the bins didn't get took out, and then you stopped washing. And then I started from watching suicide videos on YouTube for half an hour a day to 7 to 9 hours a day, and it just totally consumed me to the point where I decided that I was going to commit suicide. I was so unhappy being me. And the problem I struggled with was I wasn't bullied for being fat. I wasn't bullied for being poor. I was bullied for simply
being yourself,
being born, being yourself. Yep. Nothing I could change about me. And when you're bullied for existing, it's very hard to convince yourself that other people are wrong, because when you hear a message from the age of 8 up in all those years, when you hear it long enough, you start to believe it.
Yep.
And then you start to question where your life is, and you start to you see people, you start to get jealous, and you envy people, and you try and put on this front to try and compete with these people, and you end up just falling short every time. And my life just became this one massive mess. So I decided throughout the summer holidays that I phoned my mum up and I said, in 3 days' time, I'm going to commit suicide. In 3 days' time, I have it planned.
See, saying that to your mum, do you think that was a kind of cry for help as well? Or?
Well, now that I do a lot of stuff with mental health, you find that if people are ready for suicide, they go off very quietly.
Yep.
Do it themselves, and they don't tell anybody. So I think it was, at the time I was so convinced I was gone. I had it planned and everything. But then I spoke to my brother, and this was my light bulb moment for me. And my brother's a personal trainer, and he's also a keynote speaker, does a lot of motivational stuff, but when I'm speaking to him, he's just Ross. So he's just Ross. And I remember him saying, what is it you want to do? And I'd always loved Derren Brown and stuff, so I turned around and I went, do you know what? I want to be a hypnotist and be on the stage. I said, but he says, well, why don't you? I said, well, I've just moved out, I've got bills to do, and don't know if you noticed, my life's a bit of a mess.
So that's, not excuse, but what you said there, that's the exact same reply. Most people who are depressed and have suicidal thoughts, they think the exact same thing. I'll never be able to do that. I'm not good enough.
What's the point?
What's the point?
What I discovered was I was so busy focusing on the 1,000 reasons why not to, rather than focusing on the one reason as to why to.
And I think that's the problem with other people. They focus on too much on the negativity.
100%.
Your brother's encouragement sounds like
this
perfect
is
thing
where
to
it
say at
was.
the right time, innit?
So he said, "What's up?" And I said, "Obviously I'm depressed." And his first response was, "You're not depressed. Get a grip." Which sounds very harsh, but I was so used to people model coddling me that I was almost like, "How dare you?" Yes, I am. I'm committing suicide, don't you know? You know, like I'm depressed. Don't tell me I'm not depressed. But he finished off the conversation with just the most loving, supportive thing. And I remember saying to him, "Well, how do I do this? Where do I start? What do I do?" I says, "What if I set myself a time frame, 2 years? If it doesn't work in 2 years, I'll give up." He says, "What? No." He says, "Fraser, I've been trying to get my business off the ground for 7 years. 7 years working 100+ hours." He says, "When you love something, you don't feel that you're retired. You've never worked a day in your life." So anyway, I thought, right. So I thought about it. So that night, I went to my bed, and I'd been hypnotising my mates and stuff in the pub just for fun and whatnot, just on nights out.
It's some party trick to have, but
I remember the first time actually I hypnotised somebody. It was my barber, right? There was a guy that came in they knew was a hypnotist and whatnot, and I went, "Oh, I'm a hypnotist." And then, "Are you?" And I went, "Oh, aye. And went, "Right, I'll finish your haircut and then you can hypnotise me." And I was like, "Aye, no worries." Thinking in my head, fuck, I've never hypnotised a person in my life.
Was this the first person that you tried
to? This is the first time ever, right? And I remember it, and I was just like, "Aye, no worries." Like that. Oh, I have no idea what's going to go on here. And so anyway, I'd done what I'd done in my wee training video, followed it to the T, didn't change a word, not a word.
Is this after doing a course or just watching stuff online?
This is me. So I spent about a year and a half, 5 to 7 hours a day watching YouTube videos and reading books and learning.
Consistency.
Watching the right videos this time?
I'll go into the two aspects because there is qualifications and stuff you need for it, but a lot of it is self-learned. So this is what I used to do for fun because that's how interesting I am. And so I used to watch this for hours upon hours, and I thought, right, I can hypnotise someone. Hypnotised myself that I could hypnotise somebody else. So I done exactly what it was, and then this guy just went, and I went, I mean, literally.
What do you do now?
And
oh shit, I'm a wee.
Everybody's like,
just for the haircut, I'm off.
Everybody was like, "Oh, that's amazing." And then outside I'm like, "Yeah, deeper again." Thinking in my head, I played it so cool, but it was awesome.
You must have been shocked. Like,
did you make him do any daft stuff for it, or was it just go to sleep?
No, that was enough for me.
You must have been like, "But fuck, that's actually worked."
Well, in my head, I thought this shit is powerful. So that's why that night when I came back and I had the chat with my brother, I gave myself one suggestion, and I'd done some self-hypnosis. So all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and the way I can explain that is, even though I'm speaking to you, I'm not doing anything to you, you're doing it to yourself. So it's all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Everything you tell yourself is all you, okay? So I gave myself one suggestion that night, and that was, you are enough. Because all my problems came from not feeling worthy enough, not being bullied for existing, for your condition, or just for being you. So I gave myself, the only suggestion was, you are enough. Now, bearing in mind this, seen psychologists, seen counsellors, nothing was working for me, couldn't leave the house without wearing fake tan or makeup. The very next day, binned all my makeup, shaved off all my hair, all my fake tan, Googled how to become a clinical hypnotherapist and get a course and diploma, paid my deposit, went back to work a week later with a totally fresh new mindset of, I am focused, I'm going to make this work.
Is that at the age of 24, 23, 24?
This was at the age of, I think I was just coming on 24, so I was still 23 at this point, because everything happened for me in the space of kind of like half a year.
Yeah.
A very quick turnaround. I went very flatlined, and then literally after I gave myself that suggestion, that's I can't honestly describe it, and people say to me now, "No, you're making it up," and I wish I was, but I say go speak to my family and friends, because I could not leave the house without dyeing my hair, wearing fake tan. I couldn't even go to the supermarket to get bread. I actually, if I had roots and it wasn't payday, I would not go out all weekend. Age 17, 18,
pretty bad,
19.
Pretty bad then.
Terrible.
You know, you finally, after all the years, you can be
next
yourself.
day, woke up, shaved it all off, went to the supermarket that afternoon with white hair. Well, sort of white hair. And I've never looked back, and here we are 5 years later. Diploma, hypnotised people in Germany, in New York, in the UK. I've been invited to speak at conferences. I've got an agent, and I'm touring all over the world doing my shows 5 years later.
How did you find that? So obviously, like, your motivation and all that, I get you. Like, so self-motivation, that's great.
Yep.
But putting on a show, I mean, even us coming doing stuff like this, like, like I mean, we're only 4 episodes in, and we're getting a wee bit more confident at it as the episodes go on.
It was all going well, and then episode 5 is all
but being able to go out there and just put on a show, like, go out in front of thousands of people, I'd imagine there's no limit to how many people you're going to be willing to go out in front of now.
No.
So if you find a venue and they've got 6,000 seats or 20,000 seats, you'll go out and you'll do it. Like, how do you get the confidence to do that?
Out in Florida, they do big state fairs and stuff like that. You can have 5,000 in the audience. Brilliant, love it. Bigger the better. Absolutely brilliant.
So did you do that in Florida?
I'm going to Colorado. Going to Colorado
right.
later on this year. My business mentor out there, he's just went and done Florida State this year. I wasn't doing it, and videos look awesome. But for me, it's you get a lot of clinical hypnotherapists. So let me just clarify the difference for it. So a clinical hypnotherapist, you need to be registered with certain governing bodies, you need to make certain criteria, you need to sit exams, you need to get your diploma, and then you need to get your certification. And then what happens is every single year you need to do supervisions to keep up to date with all your things and your constant personal development and stuff like that. So I am that. The stage hypnotist, you could be a stage hypnotist. You could be a stage hypnotist. There's no qualifications to become a stage hypnotist.
That'll be my new business venture. The amazing Alex.
Fuck off.
Oh, you like steal his ideas.
I know.
Tell me how you do it.
I know.
Amazing,
But is there money to be made? If I can make money for it, I'll do it. All at all, man.
Thanks for coming. See you later.
I know it's the business opportunity coming out of me, man.
How much money is it? Right, that's cool. Thanks so much. Next person.
But getting that confidence to go out there in front of a full room. I mean, especially for somebody who was bullied when they were younger.
It's like confidence to stand up on a stage for thousands of people.
You're a showman now. You know what I mean? It's like
difference is for me. So I always loved. I used to do musical theatre and stuff when I was younger, so I was used to being on stage and learning lines.
Seen that, Butlin's at 10-year-old.
Butlin's 10 years old. I played Wonderwall with my guitar. So they got offered you a band, and I said no. I'll play my guitar.
Loving it.
That footage needs burned. How did you know about that?
I've done my research, mate. I've done my research.
How did you know about that? Just speak to my mum.
Aye, well, she's here.
That's awful. Cut that. But no, brilliant. So
if we find the video, I'll put it up.
No, I've got the video. We'll put it up right now.
We'll put the video up about now then.
That's honestly career ending. That's
it's gone up now. That's it. It's done.
Never show my face ever again. A lot of people say to me, do you get nervous? Of course I get nervous. I remember the very first time, the way I first done my first hypnosis show was hypnotising people in the pub. And then I said to my brother, so he does an awards evening for his company to celebrate all the students and all their achievements and stuff every single year. And there was about 165 people in the room, and it's I think it was at a hotel in Glasgow. Everybody's suited and booted, and they always do entertainment and have a DJ and stuff. And he'd seen some of my videos hypnotising some of my friends in the pub, sometimes random people in the pub. And then I said, can I do a hypnosis show? And he went, I don't know how that would... And he's very polished, my brother. If it's not up here, it's not good enough kind of thing. Anyway, so he took a gamble and he'd done it. And people got hypnotised. And everybody just roared about it, how amazing it was.
Must have been nervous your first show. What if nobody gets under? They all call you a scab.
You go there and it's like 1, 2, 3, you're back. You've all been in the room, mate. I didn't leave.
Felt absolutely. I remember the morning before pretending I was going to pretend I had sickness and diarrhea just not to do it.
Phone a sickie for your show.
Phone a sickie for my own brother. And so anyway, I'd done it, and this is the first time. I still had my black hair at this point. This is before even I'd done the hypnosis to decide to do it as a job. And I'd done the show, and while I was on stage, it was the first time in years where nothing mattered. I didn't feel insecure. I didn't feel rubbish about myself. I just loved every moment of it, and it took me back to that 10-year-old wee boy in Butlins playing with his guitar, feeling confident again. Yep. And I came off that thinking, this is a bit of me. And my brother always said to me, if you're good at something, you tell the world. And if you're great at something, people tell you. And I never wanted this to be a business. This was never my aspirations up until that very last point. But even before I got to that point, people were asking if I can come to their Christmas party or their birthday party. And I was like, aye, sure, why not? And I was doing all these little wee gigs and shows and stuff like that, never intended, and it just kind of naturally built up. Then when I kind of shaved off my hair and whatnot, I learned a little bit more about business and USPs and whatnot, and then it just took the media.
Did you get somebody, like a mentor, to help you? Because for having a business background, learning about...
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate. My mum's worked in corporate for many years, and my family run businesses and own businesses.
So they've kind of mentored,
I had a little bit there, yeah. But a lot of it was me networking. I can't scream enough how much your network is your net worth.
We say
network is massive, and I remember going to networking meetings for like plumbers, merchants, and just things that don't even apply to me. I'm like, I'm going because it's going to draw heads, it's going to draw attention, you know. And it's simple. Like, let me do something with you just now. Do this with your hand. Do a thumbs up. Do a thumbs down. Thumbs up. Okay sign. Put it in your chin here. Your chin's here. Power of suggestion. You did that to a corporate room.
Yeah,
you know, people remember that.
I'm raging that I feel for that.
Do you remember nothing else?
I wanted to get back.
I'm raging that I feel for that.
I was like, you see how many figures I was holding up.
But you remember nothing else. You'll be like, you'll be going home tonight to your wife like, look, do this.
But the best is, I see as you're doing that there, I'm going like to myself.
He's going to do something.
He's going to do something like that, but I'm not going to fall for it.
You're expecting it.
I'm fucking sitting there like a funny.
I know. In a minute you'll be licking your shoe. So. What was your question? Your question was, did I get nervous? So I do get nervous. I even get nervous for stuff like this. I get more nervous for stuff like this because this is about me.
It's about you.
See, when I'm on stage, people aren't looking at me.
If you get people jumping a boat,
people aren't looking at me.
If you get people sitting there thinking they're in a boat, know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
people aren't looking at me. But I suppose I am the brand, I am the USP, and it's very much, I suppose everybody can, I was saying to you earlier on, people can buy people, right? And people can relate to somebody that's been through hardship and then comes at the end of it and successful. And that gets the bums on the seats, but then it's down to me then to deliver.
Yep.
Because as soon as you hear about hypnotist or mind control or whatever people may frame it, it's my job to get people want to come up on stage. If I don't have anybody that wants to come up on stage, I don't have a show.
People must be quite open to it, but because I remember going to see Peter Powers years ago, and it was like, who wants to come up? Everybody's just.
But how many people are in that room?
You know, so
800, 1,000. So, see, when you first become a hypnotist, if you don't have an agent, you don't have management, you don't have anything, you're not getting those rooms. You're getting the. I remember one of my first gigs was in a pub. Oh no. Not name the pub, but it was in a pub, and the pub was no bigger than this room. Okay, to put it into perspective,
just an average pub, a small
average pub, and I said, I'll do it for £20. £20, have me. I remember phoning up pubs saying, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free, and then I got a mentor and they said, do nothing for free. But I remember phoning pubs up, and I just wanted that stage time, and. I said to the guy, I said, yeah, that's fine. He says, yeah. He says, we'll advertise it. We'll put it on the big screen in the pub. We'll get tickets. And I said, well, you need to get tickets because Hypnosis doesn't go well unannounced. You need to get tickets. It needs to be a show. So anyway, it's so bad. So I wasn't convinced in my own head. So I know that once I've hypnotised somebody, they're very easy to go back under. So I brought my friend with me, so I thought if all comes to worst, they'll volunteer, and I know you'll get hypnotised because you've been hypnotised before. So I had to buy him a few pints, and the 20 quid that I made went back to him. So I bought my volunteer for that time, which is terrible because you don't ever do that stuff. But anyway,
but when you're first starting,
off. So anyway,
when I first started cleaning, I was messing my house up, taking before and after pictures and getting letting agencies my portfolio. So you've got to do things that at the start, haven't you?
I wrapped my own kitchen.
There you go.
So we turned up to this pub and I'm setting up my equipment. And there's something on the telly and I'm moving the chairs and this woman says to me, she's about 60, she said, "Excuse me, love, can you put that chair back? Because I need that because my pal's coming." And I thought, well, this isn't a good start, is it? Like, if you don't even know I'm setting up these chairs. And there was honestly about 11 people in the pub at the time. So I says to the owner, I says, when are people coming in? Aye, they'll come in. It'll get busy round about. I said, and did you sell tickets? No, it's always busy on a Thursday. It's always busy on a Thursday. I said, but we discussed it. I'll need to go there now. I need to go in the back and do the books. Good luck with your show. It'll be great. There's the speaker. You know how to plug yourself in?
He's no caring, is he, man?
So here's me going up on stage. Boom, boom, boom. The telly's still on at this point, by the way. The telly with the football's still on at this point, right above my head. So if you imagine I am the stage, that is the telly.
Your nerves must have been shattered, man.
So it came to the point and I was like, right, and who wants to come volunteer? Tumbleweed. Honestly, tumbleweed. I just wanted the world to swallow me up and die. And nobody came and volunteered. Eventually, I think I got 3 people for the show. I eventually got 8 people out their seats and 3 people in that actually got hypnotised. And I came back from that show and I remember the first thing I got in the car was, I'll never do another pub. My show's made for the bigger theatres, the bigger productions, the bigger things. So I ended up doing about another 40, 50 gigs just like that of 10 people turning up, 7 people turning up, but that's where you build your graft and that's where you build your... It's when things go wrong that you can see if you can hack this, because things do go wrong. Things go wrong all the time, but it's whether you let people know they're going wrong.
Something went wrong when you've hypnotised somebody and it's no went to plan.
Did you ever get any snagging? That's what we get. We've forever gone back to fix stuff, man. Have you ever done it to somebody and then you've had a phone call a week later and it's like, by the way, he's still barking like a dog every time the doorbell goes?
you get people trying it. So luckily I've got a very good insurance package.
You need that.
And I video everything. Everything I do is videoed. I don't leave any post suggestions on anybody, because you're right. You get people that phone you up and say, "Oh, I've got ran over."
People just try to get money
ran over 4 days later. "Oh, I'm still hypnotised." Are you? As soon as it goes to court and I've got the video footage of me removing the suggestions, can't get sued.
You can say something, put it in somebody's mind and just make them act stupid, act silly, just because you're speaking to them.
Well, so I want to explain the process for this, because a lot of people say I'm doing it. I'm not doing anything. Right? It's them. So think about it, right? And I probably shouldn't give away this secret, but I will.
Alex has started his own company, remember?
Aye, just be an arsehole.
Amazing Alex.
Amazing at Shazam. What's your catchphrase?
Oh, don't know yet.
What would you say?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. I'm going to go to customers like that. You do want a kitchen wrap. You do want a kitchen wrap.
Shazam.
Aye, that'll be me,
That's
man.
hilarious. So, right, think about it. So as I was saying, hypnosis works on numbers, right? Hypnosis works on numbers. It's not a lie. Can everybody get hypnotised? Absolutely. If they want to be hypnotised, you can be hypnotised. I'm confident
itching to get hypnotised.
You can be hypnotised, right?
So try to hypnotise us at the end of the podcast and we'll get it in camera.
Absolutely.
See if it works.
I'm also going to do some mind stuff that I've already planted that you don't know about yet. So, everybody can be hypnotised, but it's to what degree? Now, if you think about it, in a hypnotherapy room where I'm helping people lose weight, anxiety, depression, become the best version of themselves, I don't need them up performing. But in a theatre perspective, people have paid money, they want to see an entertainment show.
They want to see it.
So you're looking for very animated and exaggerated, and people have great imaginations. Now, people always say, "Oh, I pick people." No, I don't. I don't pick a person, which is why I walk on stage kicking myself every single night, because if nobody comes on,
you've not got a show.
I can't sing, so I don't know what's going to happen, and that's luckily never happened to me. I've had one person, but that one person's came up because they wanted to get hypnotised. What happened? They got hypnotised because the want was there. Now, break this down, right? You have a show coming up. So I'm headlining the Edinburgh Fringe Festival for 13 nights. 150 people in the room every single night. What's that? How many? A couple of thousand over the space of 13 days?
Take your word for it.
Right?
I'm not doing that maths.
150 times 13, right? So the tickets have got a price on them, right? So what happens is you start to see the banners, you start to see the posters, gets you excited. Then you get excited, you look at it for a little while and you think, all right, I'll maybe spend my hard-earned cash to get a ticket. So you've now turned up for a ticket. You've planned it. You've maybe planned a wee day. You've set time aside for it. You've spent your money. You're now there, right? 50% of the room is going to be there because they want to see people getting hypnotized. That's why you bought a ticket. 50% of people will be there because they're curious about hypnosis. They maybe want to volunteer. They're maybe open to the idea of volunteer, but they're not sure. Okay, so the want's still there. Then when I'm talking about on stage, I'm then taking away everybody's phobias and fears. They're thinking, oh, is it mind control? Is it this? Is it that? I've now cleared all that up. So the answer into their head was, oh, if I was curious about volunteering, I'm definitely volunteering now because everything I was worried about, he's just cleared up. So when I come to ask for volunteers, they willingly walk on stage. When you willingly walk on stage, you've signed a contract to me that says, I want hypnotized. I give you permission. So it's started from months prior. It's already in their minds because they've seen the poster. They've got excited about it. They've spent their money. They've then turned up on the night. They've then, of their own free will, went and came up on stage. I then do my psychological things that I need to do. And if I see that they respond well to them, they're gone.
It's mad, isn't it? Mind is everything.
It's not just sleep. It's here's that process subconsciously that's been happening for months.
Yep.
So that's why it's so easy. And then as you go, I'm then looking for signs to see how you respond to see if I'm going to keep you or not. Because everybody comes up on stage, I don't keep them. I remember I'd done a show in Glasgow. I think it was only for about 80 people and it should roughly be about 10% of the room. So I should have had 8 people up on that stage. I had 19 and I kept all 19 because people were so excited for the show. I had done a show and it sold out in 2 days. 2 days in Glasgow, it sold out. And
you must be proud of yourself how far you've came. And for anybody else that is struggling with mental health, depression, it shows them there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Running a business is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. But
Tell me about
the most enjoyable thing I've ever had to do in my life. You wouldn't believe the hours you need to put
Somebody
in.
that's depressed or they're feeling suicidal, they're not always going to want to run a business. So if you get any advice?
And that's the amazing thing for it. My advice is put you first. Put you first, because I think you'll agree, any entrepreneur, you need to be selfish in a way. And it's hard and it's difficult, but if you're at that low point, I am visually impaired. I've got a disability. I look a bit different than most. I didn't have any clue how to run a business. I'm dyslexic and I'm doing it.
Selling shows up all over the world.
I'm doing it. And yes, there is an element of luck to everything, but it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. You need to put yourself in that scenario and that. And if you're unhappy in your situation, only you can change that. Now, there's one thing in life that's guaranteed every single day. There's only one thing in life that's guaranteed every single day, and that is the sun will rise and the sun will set. Everything else in your life, bar illness, is a choice.
Yep.
So if you're not happy in your situation, change that choice. You might feel that I don't have any money, I'm skint. Like me, just bought my first house. I had not a free penny. Not a free penny.
Go do something to change it. Nothing's going to change, so you need to try and change it.
That's some birthday care shite right there.
Find a way. Birthday care shite.
You're licking your shoe in about 10 minutes.
You're licking your shoe.
You're stealing my business. Birthday care pish.
Aye, your birthday care pish.
Birthday care pish.
But it is good to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, because running a business as well is going to be hard on it, and you're going to come across things like you might go to a show and it might not go that good, and you're putting yourself out there on social media.
What's going to be better, the Alex one?
Aye. But you're putting yourself out there on social media and you're going to get trolls. You're going to get people that all of a sudden they'll have something to say about your appeappearance.
Do you know what,
his mob was getting it stinking the other day. Somebody called his mob Fringe McNinge.
Fringe McNinge.
Do you know what, it's weird, right? So I went viral.
She's going to
TikTok.
do you, by the way. Bringing that up.
That's hilarious.
So you went viral on TikTok.
I went viral on TikTok twice in the last 3 weeks.
Well, you'll be going viral again, right? Once we get a wee bit of sad music behind you.
Oh, no, we'll be away. And people in the comments, loads of abuse. I've got a lot of shite.
Do you handle that better now?
Pish. Well, so I've learned, so politely reply to your comments, right? be savage, but politely do it so that it doesn't affect your business.
Yep.
So, for example, I had a comment from a dog, a profile picture of a dog,
Yeah,
right? And it was like,
I've been arguing with you dogs on Facebook and all that.
and it's like, this is the biggest lot of pish. People are weak-minded and all the rest of it. And I replied, we're just impressed that a dog could type this. So it's just, do you know what I mean? It's winding people up because it's going to get more interaction with your post, but it's been to a point where it's politically correct.
Aye.
But what I would say is, I'm quite lucky actually. I've not had any abuse from me. They've all been abuse to the volunteers. Bless them, like acting it weak-minded.
Weak-minded.
But then that goes back to what I was saying. People don't pay attention to me. I'm just the guide, you know. I'm the weird snowman looking guy on stage that does wizardy things until their pals are getting up. And my advice to anybody is that if you think it's a lot of rotten rubbish, come see a show.
Buy tickets. Get your money, I'll show you.
Where are we? What camera? Camera 2. From the 15th to the 27th of August from www.theworldsmostuniquehypnotist.com for the Fringe. Thank you. There's a plug.
There you go. What is the plans for the future then? So if you get a goal, Vegas.
I would love to. So
Vegas, shit for the stars there.
Well, why no? Why no?
I know. What are you trying to say?
I'll be in Vegas before you're in.
I know.
So, sorry, I'll get you on as my support act.
So
my next goal is to break into the cruise ship industry for like Disney and all the rest of it. You can work one show and you get a free holiday, and it's good money. And
You're away for months at a time.
My end goal, no. So you get a thing called a fly-on entertainer. So you do get guests. So you get guest crew, which is people that do the 6 months, 7 months, 8 months contract, and then you get guest entertainers that make 5 times as much and going for a week.
That's good, isn't it?
So that's the goal, but you are very high prestige to be getting onto there.
You better not go down at the pool, man. You'll get burnt.
Yes, I know, but absolutely humped in it, just blending in. People thinking there's a handrail that's fell off.
There's a guy holding this boat.
I know. Why is that hot tub moving? It's just lying about. So my goal is to do that, but my end goal is to be able to do. I've started doing theatres this year. Started doing a theatre too. So we've got Edinburgh, and then I'm doing. I don't know if I can announce this actually. I think it's
an exclusive.
Right, 28th of October we're headlining Bathgate Theatre, and then 2024 my diary is lined up for going around the UK to lots of different theatres for the tour.
In the space of about 4 years, you're smashing it. You're doing absolutely brilliant.
Getting there. But that's what we're saying, and. If you're struggling, then if I can do it and I'm a little bit odd and weird, then everybody else can do it, you know. But you need to be prepared for the negative feedback, and you need to be prepared for the 5,000 emails that you're going to get and the 5,000 no's. It's the one yes that matters, but it's the not giving up. You need to love something and be passionate enough about something.
You've got to be consistent, haven't you?
Yeah, you get out of life what you put in, you know. But the biggest advice I could give anybody is it's not too late. It's not too late, because I was 22, 23 before I found my passion, and look what I've managed to do in 5 years. What I've done in 5 years is nothing compared to some people climbing Everest and stuff in 5 years, you know. So I look up to people who've been running their businesses for years. So it's not you're better than I, or I'm better than you, or anything else. Surround yourself with people that you aspire to be like, and that is the best help you'll ever get.
I think a lot of people, that is a problem. They think I'm too old now, I can't date now, can't start a business at 28, 30.
Listen, if this didn't work out, I was putting an X Factor application in. That's what was happening.
You said you can't sing, but so you've got a sad story. You get that.
I had a bit of skin cancer. My dad left me, and it's 3 S's.
We've not got long left, right? So if you want to get you hypnotised, what do we do?
I want to do this with you very quickly, first of all. Okay, so brought along a padlock for B&Q. Oh. No.
I get to the good bit now. But I've had the stories.
Give me. In fact, I'll give you this. Boom. There's a bit for you. There's a bit for you.
Right, mate.
And we'll start with yourself. So take the pen. Now, tell me any 4 numbers. Go. Tell me the first number. Yep. Any single digit number.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Give me another one.
5.
5. Which one do you want to use? 4 or 5?
4.
Okay. Write down 1, 2, 3, 4. That's really unique.
No, I'm not a complicated man.
Right, turn over. Give me another number. Any number you want.
8.
Type in 8. Or type in 8. Write down 8. Give me another one.
7.
Give me another one.
6.
Give me another one.
9.
Now, that's a padlock. As you know, with padlocks, it opens up in different combinations. Now, are you happy that you freely chose those combinations, yeah?
Yes.
Cool. Now go. It starts from, just in case you don't know how it works, padlock starts from the top of the thing. So what was your first one? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Just put that in and see if it opens, and try your other combination just to see if that opens as well. Just because anytime it starts from the top down to the bottom, I suppose it doesn't really matter. But a lot of people think when you bring a padlock, they think, oh, it's gimmick torch somewhere on that. And so I'm like, okay, let's pick numbers, do whatever. Are you happy it doesn't open? That's what I'm trying to prove to you.
I think you're in trouble because I only wrote 8 on the back of that.
That's okay.
I know, but it was 8769.
Go.
That was the code.
Go and put in 8 and then put whatever numbers you want in after it. Anything at all.
7, 6, 9.
Right. Doesn't open, right?
That's like that, of course it doesn't.
Right. Stick that on the table for me. Who would like to do this? Yourself.
Right, go for it.
Okay. I want you to think of a family member, like a gran or an uncle or a mum or somebody that I would have no idea who they are.
Right.
No idea who they are. Have you got that in your mind?
Yep.
Okay. I want you to think of the year they were born. Think of the year where they were born in your mind and write it down.
I don't know the year this person was born. Right, I'll just go. Can I change person?
You can change person.
Right.
You're hard work.
Put it somebody that I wouldn't know. Somebody that's
right.
Wise knowledge or whatnot.
Right.
You done that?
Yep.
Okay. Who have you got in your mind?
My dad.
Your dad. And why did you pick your dad? You put the pen down?
Because I know when year he was born.
You know the year he was born. Fantastic. But what happens is we actually form connections subconsciously to people. So obviously you have a connection to your dad, but through hearing my story today and stuff, maybe you felt obliged to pick somebody that was close to you. And did you have a good relationship with your dad or anything like that growing up?
Yep.
Perfect. So you might not know it, but we've actually connected in a way that makes sense subconsciously, but consciously you wouldn't know what's going on. And I'm going to explain this in a minute. What was your dad's birthday?
The 30th of November.
30th November. And what year?
1969.
1969. Now that's only you could know that. There's no way I could do that. There's no way I could go look that up online or anything like that at all prior to this. And also, I let you pick anybody you wanted. You had somebody and then you changed it. So you're happy that it's a free choice?
Yes.
Now there's 2 ways that a padlock can open. Number 1 is the key, and number 2 is only one combination. How incredible would it be if the only combination that unlocks that padlock is the year your dad was born?
There's no way.
I know. I'll give it a try.
1969.
1969.
Honestly, mate, there's no way that's something. See?
Well, mate, I've probably done it wrong.
So, start from the top. 1, 9, 6, 9.
That's no.
You want to try it? Put it in.
He's fucking not doing it right.
You need to line them up. Do we need to get the tech crew in?
Is it not meant to be on that line, sir?
Aye.
It's meant to be on the line. The line itself is supposed to cross that line.
All
right.
1. Oh, we're hard work, aren't we?
That's okay.
6, 9. There you go.
No way. No chance.
Just there's a line here. So we were doing it up the top. There's a line there.
Even then, right? How?
Now go put that padlock back in and change the numbers. And now go put
You were so confident that was going to work because we couldn't get that and you weren't panicking.
Because I was looking there. Mate, there's no way.
That's
Right then, I'm putting that in again.
Well done, man.
I'm double checking this.
Go for it.
9.
It's the only combination that goes.
It's mad because at first I picked my uncle, but I don't know his date of birth, so I changed it to my dad.
That's why I'm a mentalist. That's why I do what I do.
That's mad.
Wait, that's mental.
That's mad.
You set that on the table, keep it as a momentum.
That's class, man.
Cool.
Brilliant. Because I don't know. So you had that code in there?
That's the only code that opens up, yep. That's why I said lock it back up and clear it in. There's no other code that opens up apart from 1969.
1969.
Right, can you hypnotise him now?
Do you want to get a try?
Aye, we can both try it. I think you should both try it. So what we'll try is we'll try a visualization exercise that you can both do. It's not hypnosis, but what happens is it lets me know how you respond. So you might want to move your microphones out of the way.
There is someone back there if you need them to go.
What's that?
There's somebody back there if you want them to go in case you put them under a spell as well.
No, they're absolutely fine. They're absolutely fine. I must say on the podcast that this will not affect you if you're watching at home. Perfect. Okay, so what I want you to do is put your feet flat on the floor, both of you. Excellent. And what I want you to do is I just want you to place both of your hands out like this. I'm trying to do this without hitting the microphone. Excellent. Sorry, so I need you to not be conscious of the microphone. So turn your right hand up to the ceiling. Excellent. Okay. And I want you to pick a point.
Right. It's Alex here. I need to interrupt this because we don't want anybody getting hypnotised at home, but you can still see what's kind of happening and we don't want sued. So here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The person I'm touching now, you can open your eyes. And the person I'm touching now, you can just keep your eyes closed and sink and drift and drop all the way down deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel, the better you feel, the deeper you go. And from this moment forward until I leave the room, anytime I and only I say the word sleep, you'll instantly and immediately fall back into this wonderful, amazing state of relaxation we call hypnosis. That's when I and only I say the word sleep. You'll find that your eyes will close, your heavy head will drop, you'll become loose, limp, totally relaxed, completely natural, feeling relaxed. Even more relaxed than you are just now. Nod your head if you understand. But for the moment being, we're just going to wake you up twice as deep into hypnosis with a big smile on your face, feeling fantastic. 1, 2, 3, eyes wide awake. How was that for you?
All right.
How do you feel?
All right.
Feel okay?
You're laughing at I'm all right, aye.
What did it feel?
Doesn't feel any different, right?
I feel all right, aye.
Did it feel any different?
Not sure. I could hear everything you were saying in that. Like I could feel my arm as if it was rising a bit.
Yep. Did you feel relaxed? Did you feel stressed? Were you feel health conscious about any way or anything at all?
I felt alright. I wasn't sure if it was in my head if it was working, so I was trying to go with it.
Excellent. Are you right or left-handed?
Right.
Excellent. If you just give me your right hand here, just lean forward so that you can put all your weight here. Turn it around. I want you just to focus here. I want you to push all your weight down here. Focus on that point there. Keep pushing as hard as you can. Go. When you can push hard on that, put your whole body into it. Use your whole
just
body.
that finger?
No, your whole body. Push
Right.
your whole body into it. Look here. Keep focusing. There you go. That's it. Push harder, harder. Push down. You can push hard on that and sleep all the way down. Deeper and deeper. Deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. And that's right. Deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper. That's it. 3, sinking, drifting. Any noises you hear around you will not bother you, but in fact only allow you to sink and drift and float even deeper than you already are. You're focusing and concentrating perfectly all the way down. As I count down from 10 all the way down to 0, you'll discover now, but at the time I get to 0, you'll be so deep and relaxed that you'll feel amazing in every single way. 10, drifting, dreaming, floating. 9, you can change your position as much as you want to make yourself more comfortable. 8, sinking. 5, deeper and deeper. 3, 2, 1. In a wee second, I'll count to 3. Pop your eyes open twice as deep. Anytime I say the word sleep, and any suggestion I give you becomes your truth, and your truth becomes your reality. Nod your head if you understand. 1, 2, 3, eyes wide awake, and sleep all the way down. Deep, deep, deep. 1, 2, 3, eyes wide awake. Do me a favour, take a deep breath in, focus here. Sleep all the way down. All the way down. There you go. All the way down, deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. Better you feel, the deeper you go. Now in a wee moment, I'm going to pop your eyes open twice as deep into hypnosis, and you'll discover that hand has just became super glued to your head. It's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. In fact, that might seem a wee bit strange, but the tighter you squeeze that hand, the better you feel, the better you squeal, the deeper you go. Now, in a wee second, when you open your eyes, you're going to try and take your hand off, but the more you try, the tighter it becomes. The more you try, because that hand is now stuck, glued, cemented, almost like the world's sticky super glue is between your hand and your head. Nod your head if you understand. Next time you open your eyes, that hand is completely stuck to your head. 1, 2, 3. Eyes wide awake. Excellent. Oh, right. So what we were saying. Take your hand off your head for me. Take that. Just your hand off your head for me, if you don't mind.
Take it off your hand. I just feel normal.
Of course you do. Now, the strangest thing is there is. Really, you're not acting this.
My hunker shaking.
You're not faking this, you're not acting this. You generally can't get your hand off your head.
I'm trying to.
Try harder. The more you try, the more stuck it becomes. Strange, right? Right, there is a way. There is a way for your hand to become released.
I could hear everything you were saying. You were talking all that, so but obviously, I don't know if I was going to rang that, but fucking take on a mind.
The amazing thing is that there is a way for you to get your hand.
I'm going to walk about this.
No.
Get off my head. I'm going to take my body parts like him.
There is a way. seems strange. There is a way. If you take your left hand and you place your left hand onto your shoe, that hand becomes released, but then your left hand gets stuck now to your shoe, stuck, cemented. That hand, your right hand can come off, but now your left hand, unfortunately, is completely glued to your shoe, which seems really weird, but the more you try, the more it gets stuck. The more you try and take your hand off. If you just bring your shoe up to the camera, just so we can get a wee look at this, you see now. If you just look at me, when I clap my hands, that hand will become released now. There you go, well done. Look at me. Here, take a deep breath in. And sleep all the way down, deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. Now, you're concentrating and focusing. Excellent. Just all the way down. That's better. All the way down. 3, 2, 1. Sleeping lovely. Good. The more you sleep, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. Now, the strangest thing has happened. The next time you open your eyes, your first name has completely vanished from your mind. Gone. You can remember your second name, but the more you try and think of that first name, that the further it goes from your mind. It's kind of like, and anytime you try and say it, you have tongue out the mouth syndrome. Blah, 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 blah. Anytime you try and remember your first name or try and say your first name, it's like your tongue has fell out your mouth. Blah, blah. You just can't remember. And in fact, the more you try and remember, the more you forget. It's kind of like, you know, that way when you can remember a song, but you can't quite remember it. It's that annoying feeling. That's exactly what's going to happen. Next time you open your eyes, you have completely forgot your first name. Nod your head if you understand. 1, 2, 3. Eyes wide awake. Excellent. So, it's been an absolute pleasure coming in the podcast. Sorry, I forgot to get your name. What was your name again?
I'm Alex, mate.
Alex Fraser, nice to meet you. And what was your name again, sorry?
Shebang.
Shebang. What? What's your name, sorry?
Shebang.
So, you know your second name. What's your second name?
Shebang Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick. Now watch this. When I just do this, that first name's completely gone. Can't remember. What was your first name again? So I'm Fraser, that's Alex. And your second name
Robert.
is? What's your second name?
Robert.
What's your second name?
Oh, Fitzpatrick.
And what's your first name?
Robert.
What is his name Robert?
No, mate.
No. He's telling me that your name is James. Is it James?
Robert.
Is your name James?
Robert Fitzpatrick.
No, it's not. That's not your name.
Have you got a driving licence or anything on you at all?
No, I don't get one.
Have you got anything on him? Just...
That's not your name, I know that for a fact.
What's your name?
Robert Fitzpatrick.
When I click my fingers, you realise what you've done. What's your name?
James. James Fitzpatrick.
What's your name? I'm only good.
Robert's my middle name. Robert. James
So what's your name?
James Fitzpatrick.
Watch this amazing thing. Since they're touching the head, you forget. What's your name?
Jubab.
Your name. Your first name.
Jubab.
Excellent. And just sleep all the way down, deeper and deeper and deeper. Excellent. Next time I ask you to pop your eyes open, you'll be completely out of hypnosis, but you're going to forget what's happened in the last 5 minutes. You'll have no previous knowledge from it until I shake your hand. As soon as I shake your hand, all the memories will come flooding back, and you'll know exactly what's happened in this hypnotic state in a positive and exciting way. However, the next time I ask you to open your eyes, I'm going to leave you with one suggestion. That tonight you will have the best night's sleep of your entire life, and you're going to wake up tomorrow feeling refreshed and feeling the best version of yourself, ready to attack the rest of the week in the most positive way possible. You're going to feel really enthusiastic and motivated and ready to achieve your goals throughout the week. Nod your head if you understand. Next time I count to 5 and waken you, you'll be completely out of hypnosis. 0, familiarising yourself in the room. 1, feeling all the blood and everything else rushing back to your body. 2, feeling like you've bathed your eyes in a fresh spring bath. 3, all hypnotic suggestions are completely removed. However, you won't remember about the hypnosis until I shake your hand. But next time you open your eyes, you're just going to be feeling amazing in every single way. 4, almost back in the room now. And 5, eyes wide awake, back in the room.
Thanks everybody for coming to another episode of From Scheme to Boss. I hope he's picked something up for us and maybe even get a laugh at him. But thanks a lot for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
Mate. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All the best with your shows coming up, mate.
And how was it being hypnotised, James?
I don't know, it was strange. It was strange. I remember I had my hand on my head, my hand on my feet.
Were you acting?
I wasn't acting, no. But I knew it was happening. I don't know how to explain it. I knew I was there, I knew it was happening.
My hand stuck to my
Thank you so much for having me, James. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Right, cheers, mate. Thank you.
Right, so we've got a wee bit of a bonus clip for you because after the show, James was saying how I don't think it worked. I don't think you could do it to me again if I fought it. This is him fighting it, and here's the clip after it. It's funny.
Try and stop it. Go. Try and stop that hand. But the more you try, the less more it goes.
You try to
Can't
stop it.
It just happens. Sleep all the way down. Fucking hell, man.
Fucking legs are shit.
Your hand here. Sleep all the way down. It's all right. I've got you. Yeah, all the way. Allow yourself to sink and drift and float. You can stand completely safe, but just allow your body to be loose limp. Now, I've got you. You won't fall over. Just completely loose, totally relaxed. And just allow this hand to drop now. That's it. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go as you just sink and drift and float. Now, anytime for the next 3 minutes, anytime I say the word sleep, you'll instantly and immediately fall back into this wonderful state. And I'll just allow you and catch you every single time. You're completely safe. 1, 2, 3. Eyes wide awake. Excellent. Here. So what's going to happen is you're going to fall into my shoulder here, but don't worry, I'll catch you. Okay? So you just walk over here.
What am I doing?
Sleep. That's what you're doing. Oh, and deeper. Loose limp, totally relaxed, feeling secure and safe in every single way. Just allowing yourself to go all the way down. Any noises you hear around you won't bother you, but in fact will enhance your ability just to sink and drift and float and dream all the way down. That's it. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. That's it. And you can just continue to sink and drift with every breath in and every breath out. Any noise you hear around you will not bother you. So this is the amazing thing, right? Look how completely and utterly relaxed he is. Completely. Eyes wide awake.
I can hear everything you say around me, and why my eyes are all right.
Do it then.
Bad.
Do it then.
Fucking try.
Just how it goes.
Oh man.
Aye, that's it.